In this video, you are going to learn the most difficult interview questions that you can possibly get. And these are interview questions that always trip up candidates and they get rejected. But it won't be you because you are watching this video. And if you want more interview tips just like this, make sure you click subscribe down below. And if you're already subscribed, go ahead and share this video with a friend who has upcoming interviews so that they don't get any of these tricky and really difficult interview questions wrong. Now, when it comes to the most difficult interview questions, I'm going to keep this as generic as possible. Obviously, I can't make a video about every single type of job there is, so these are the most common but generic interview questions that I see a lot of candidates trip up on. Now, the first really hard interview question is, what would your manager say about you? This is a really tricky interview question because it's really a hidden way of saying what are your strengths and weaknesses. If you want a full breakdown on how to actually answer the strengths and weaknesses question, you're going to want to watch this video that I got on the channel right here. But when they ask you, how would your manager describe you, or what would your manager say about you, you're going to want to share at least one strength and one weakness. The reason why they ask about your manager and not your teammate is because your manager is the one that gives you your performance reviews, obviously, which means they tell you what you did well, but also what you need to improve on. This question is cleverly designed to see if you have self-awareness and you are able to proactively share weaknesses that you are currently working on. The next really difficult interview question is, what are you looking for in your next job or opportunity? This is a trick question. They don't care what you want. Remember, this is an interview. You are interviewing to work for them. They are going to be paying you money. So they don't actually care what you want. So don't fall into the trap of saying exactly what you want in your next job because they do not care. Remember, this is an interview. So what your answer needs to say is what you are looking for, which aligns with the company's goals, missions, or whatever this project is that they need you to work on, or whatever problem that they need you to solve when you got the job description. So you need to tell them that what you want is to help this company or this team achieve that specific goal, and only you can help them get there. And this is also when you're going to want to share a quick story about something you have done in the past that is very similar to what this company or team wants from you today in a future role. Also, this is a really great time to show off any research you've done about the company, its products, and maybe even some of its competitors. All right, so the next tricky interview question is, tell me about a time where you went above the call of duty. Almost all companies will ask some form of this question, and I see candidates get this wrong all the time. Everyone fails this question because they think working late or helping a teammate is a good answer, but it is not. What this question is really saying is, what is the most impressive thing that you have done? Your job is to impress me with your answer. So saying that you worked late and you stayed and did overtime is not going to be impressive. Your answer or example that you share here needs to be technical or related to the job itself. Don't talk about soft skills or working hard or your flight got canceled so you drove a rental car to meet the customer. This needs to be something technical that can really impress me. You should give an example using the STAR method, but when you're giving your answer, the result needs to be extremely impressive. And very important here, you need to tell me why this was so impressive. Why was what you did so impressive and so difficult that no one else could do it? And that is why I need to be hiring you for this position. The next really hard interview question is, imagine we hired you at our company in this role and we asked you to solve this problem. Whatever problem they share here is going to be the exact problem that they actually care about this person doing when they hire you. So this is obviously going to be the most important question you're going to answer. But this is a very hard interview question because a lot of candidates think that this is a behavioral question and they should be using the STAR method to answer this. But this is a hypothetical question. They're asking you hypothetically, in an imaginary scenario, you were hired for that company in that other role with this problem that they have in their business context. So you should not talk about a similar time where you've answered or handled a similar problem at a previous job. They care about what you would do for them in the future. So first, whenever you're given a hypothetical question or an imaginary scenario like this, you need to ask some clarifying questions to your interviewer. Ask one or two clarifying questions to get more context on the problem, because this context will help you shape what type of solution you are going to want to provide for this specific answer. Obviously, you're going to use your past work experience and your background and your expertise to guide your answer, but you need to customize the answer and the solution for their specific business context. All right, so the next really tricky interview question that you need to watch out for is, imagine you had a conflict with your manager. How would you handle it? Don't use the STAR method for this, because this is a hypothetical question. Remember, it started with imagine, which means this is an imaginary scenario, so you don't use situation, task, action, result. Step one, of course, is to ask questions to get context about whatever conflict you have with this imaginary manager. But don't make your answer boring. Everyone always answered this question by basically saying you're going to sit down, you're going to listen to your manager, you're going to make them feel heard, and then you're going to try to find a solution where you can meet in the middle. That's such a boring answer, and it's the same answer that every single candidate is going to give to this question. Don't be boring. You need to think to yourself, what if this imaginary manager of yours doesn't want to meet in the middle? How are you going to handle it now? Or what if the solution that you're proposing is actually wrong, and so meeting halfway or meeting in the middle doesn't make sense at all because you are the one that's wrong? Your answer to this question needs to proactively address both of these scenarios. Whenever I get asked this interview question, I always say that if me and my manager can't agree on a solution where we can meet in the middle, 50-50, then I would actually prefer to agree with my manager at the time and implement their solution. But I would track the results and also run models, if possible, to determine what the outcome would be if we had gone with my solution. And I would not be afraid to admit that I am wrong if my solution was incorrect. But I would always want to make sure that I'm learning from my mistakes and understanding why the manager's solution was better than mine given certain business context. Because we all come with our own experience and we've all been successful before. If it was possible to forecast and predict or model out what would have happened if we went with my scenario and it ended up being correct, I would never say that I told you so, but I would be empathetic and try to understand why within certain business context a different solution was better at the time. It's always going to be a learning experience for me, which is how I would word this. This type of answer shows the interviewer that you are open to both giving and receiving feedback, which is going to be huge when it comes to teamwork and working in any type of team environment for any company in any role. All right, so now you know some of the most difficult interview questions that you can possibly get and how to answer them so that you don't get rejected. Now that you're going to get more job offers, go ahead and share this video with a friend and click subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all for watching, and don't be afraid to shake things up.